Right. So, as part of our Jira learning is concerned, this is about the workflow part because if you want to create any workflows, etc., so wherein workflow creations can be done over here. So, whenever we want to create a workflow, so wherein we have to perform this in the admin part, right? So, because admin role usually do this workflow creations, filters, etc. So, in this session, we are discussing about the workflows. What are the workflows, etc. So that we have two options available, wherein which can be seen as a diagram or else it can be in a text message. So now I'm changing these. Okay. So the status name I'm changing to. Right. So the first one is about the analysis. Is the phase I'm doing. The second was in planning and design. This was the second one. The third one I'm mentioning coding. Okay, coding part because any coding etc. of that kind. So we can perform the coding etc. All that. So these we are making. Okay, so these are all something that we are making. Initially, it started with the planning phase, analysis phase. After that, we were performing the planning phase or something of that. At the same time, we were doing the coding part. Okay, right. So we were doing coding. So apart from the coding, if there is any new things that we want to mention, right? So for example, if you want to add any kind of status or something of that kind, right? So if you want to add any transitions or if you want to perform any kind of rules or something of that, right? So we can add those rules, whatever is required. So if you want to add the status, right? So you want to know about the status of it, right? So we can add it. Status for testing. I'm just giving you an example. Okay, so create testing. I'm just status under the category, right? So which categories this belongs to of that kind. Okay, so if you want to add any category to the existing one, hmm, testing means if you want to add, so we can add one more status. Okay, so if of course this required some transition, etc. So wherein we have to update all the status, etc. Right? So or else if there are properties where we can add new property to the existing one and we can save it. Okay, whatever the property value we have. So the property values we can update. Okay, that is something that we can do it. So workflow creations majorly needs like whatever the required information you want to be performed, right? So any coding or something of that. So whatever the required status if you want to be updated. So this is how we have to make the changes, right? From the analysis phase wherein we have started with. Next, we have done with the planning phase, followed by the coding, testing or something. Everything can be added to the existing application. In addition to that, so here we have rules like, because these are rules based on the business rules I can refer you, because depends on the requirement of the customer, these rules will vary. So validating the rules and adding new rules to the existing application so that system will act upon automatically. So there are different rules. The first one about restrictions based on the status of the task subtask means whenever there is any work item that we are going to be transitioned on. So when the subtasks have any kind of special status, etc. So this rule has to be updated. In the same way, this is related even for status at the same time validating the fields. All these things we need to know, right? So, for example, if you want to assign a work, right? So, if you want to assign a work, automatically assigning your work, right? So, it is not something that we are doing it manually. So, we need to automatically assign a work item to the team. Okay, so assign a work item, for example. Okay, this is a rule. This we want to be added. Okay, so assign a work item. choose transition, for example, at the time of planning and design, or else at the time of analysis. Okay. Choose a person, current person or someone, right? It's a default assignee or someone. So there can be a role. For example, a role called business analyst was there. For example, okay, we have the role called business analyst. So we can assign, or else space owner or default assignee or something of that, right? So here I'm mentioning about the current user, right? So current user, whoever the current user, we are assigning a work item to them. Automatically, you are adding the rule over here. Right? So you're adding one more rule. So like this, we have to update, right? So what are the different rules that are needed for us to mention about this Jira? So in the backend, usually administration people do all these. What are the required changes we want to make, right? So if you want to validate the details, okay. So if you want to validate the details, or if you want to perform any kind of actions to the existing one, or any status of that kind, right? So these things can be done by the admin team, because it's not only about how we are working on Jira. Backend, even admin team required these informations must be maintained, so that system will automatically detect the information or the input whatever is given by us. System will identify and system will understand automatically, and it will work accordingly, so that multiple team members are using this application based upon the kind of roles they're holding, right? So permissions will be given by the admin team also. This is how usually we works in the workflow part, all that stuff.